Every level of net worth has a different version of fear. Here's what no one tells you. The night you finally hit the number you'd been chasing for a decade, you didn't feel what you thought you'd feel. You felt something worse, something cold, something nameless, something that sits in your chest at 2 a.m. while a bigger number than you ever dreamed of glows on a screen in the dark. Not relief, not pride, not anything you were promised. And that's when you understand, really understand in your body, not your head, that the money was never going to save you from the thing that was actually wrong. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because first, you have to be 22. You are 22 years old and your net worth is zero. Not zero like a clean slate, zero like a hole. You wake up on the 5th of the month, and before you're fully conscious, before you remember your own name, one question is already running. Will the card decline at the gas station today? That's it. That's the entire interior life. One number, one question. Will there be enough? This fear has a texture, coarse, loud. It follows you into the break room when someone mentions going out for dinner and you do the math so fast it should be illegal. You smile and say you're not hungry. You're always hungry. Here's the thing about being broke. The fear is honest. It doesn't dress up. It doesn't pretend to be something else. You need money. You don't have money. That's the whole equation. There's almost a purity to it. You don't know yet that clarity is the last luxury you'll ever lose. So you grind, extra shifts. You sell things on Facebook Marketplace that you didn't know you were emotionally attached to until a stranger pays $12 and drives away and something small in you goes with them. You stop going out. You learn to cook rice 5 different ways. And one day, you look at your savings account and it says $10,000. $10,000. You screenshot it. You stare at the screenshot. For exactly 4 days, you feel invincible. Then the new fear arrives. It's quieter than the last one, more educated. You read about inflation and realize this 10,000 is already dying, slowly, like a plant you forgot to water. You move it into a high-yield savings account. Then you read about high-yield savings accounts. Now you're deep in Reddit threads at midnight, written by strangers who seem furious about things you don't fully understand yet. You lie awake. What if I put it in the wrong place? What if I do nothing and it loses value? What if I do something and lose it all? The money that was supposed to make you sleep better is exactly what's keeping you awake. This is the first upgrade. Fear of not having money, replaced by fear of mismanaging it. Slightly more sophisticated, equally paralyzing. And here's the part no one warned you about. You can't tell anyone. You mention the savings account to a friend, and they look at you like you've broken a social contract. You're not supposed to talk about this. You're definitely not supposed to complain. So you don't. You just carry it. Years pass. You make better decisions than you had any right to make. Some terrible ones too. But they don't kill you. You're 28, maybe 29, and you hit $100,000. Net worth, liquid, real money with your name on it. And this is where it gets strange. 100,000 sounds like safety. It sounds like the answer. People write articles about this milestone like it's a finish line. But you stand at the finish line, and the tape doesn't break, and there's no crowd, and you're just standing on a road that keeps going. The fear at 100,000 is invisible to everyone who doesn't have 100,000. Survival's handled. Now the fear is about trajectory, whether you're building correctly or just building, whether this is enough, whether you are enough. You open a brokerage account, you buy index funds because you read that you should. Then the market drops 11% in a week and you feel something in your chest that has no name in polite company. You don't sell, you've read enough to know better, but God, you want to. You want to pull every dollar out of the market, shove it under your mattress, and tell the entire economy to leave you alone. You don't. The market recovers. You feel vindicated and terrified at the same time because you know you got lucky. Your discipline was thin. One more bad week and you're not sure which version of yourself shows up. That's the fear at 100,000. Not whether you'll have money, whether you have what it takes to keep it. You're early 30s now. The compound interest you stopped fully understanding 3 years ago has been doing something extraordinary while you weren't looking. $500,000, $500,000, a number that would have seemed fictional to the person selling furniture on Facebook Marketplace. And you feel sit with this. You feel worse. Not worse than zero. Let's be precise. But worse than the math said you should feel. Because at 500,000, the fear mutates into something that almost looks like its opposite. You're not afraid of not having enough. You're afraid of having enough and not knowing it. You're afraid of the life you're not living while you optimize the one you have. You walk past a restaurant you've always wanted to try. $80 for dinner, $80 compounding over 20 years. You keep walking. You are becoming someone you would have found sad 10 years ago. And there's another fear, the one that arrives at night without knocking. It's not market loss, it's identity loss. Because somewhere between 0 and 500,000, money stopped being a tool and became a scoreboard. Now you're terrified that if the number goes down, something about you goes down with it. You don't say this out loud. You've learned. Nobody wants to hear it. You have more money than most people your age, and if you express any anxiety about it, you will be correctly told to go to hell. So you absorb it. You reframe it. You call it being financially responsible. What it actually is fear in a blazer. $1 million. You get there. You actually get there. And for a moment, maybe a long weekend, maybe a week, it's everything. You feel it in your body. Something releases, some tension you've held since you were 22, since the gas station, since the rice, 5 different ways. It lets go. Then it comes back differently. The millionaire's fear is the most sophisticated and the least forgivable. It's not the fear of having nothing. It's the fear of going back, of the number reversing, of waking up in the life you escaped. You know, intellectually, that $1 million invested correctly would take a catastrophic sequence of events to fully disappear. You know this. But knowledge and fear don't share a room. They don't even share a building. You start doing things that would look insane to your 22-year-old self. You obsess over asset allocation. You read about sequence of returns risk. A very clinical phrase for the nightmare where you retire at exactly the wrong moment and watch your portfolio dissolve in the first years while you can't afford to wait for recovery. You read about this. You have never retired. You are 33 years old and you are terrified of dying poor, except dying poor now means having 900,000 instead of $1 million. The goalposts didn't move. They evaporated. There are no goalposts anymore. Just the number, always in motion, always approaching or retreating from something you cannot name. And the social weight, the way you can't tell your family, the way you've started sorting people, unconsciously, horribly, by whether they're moving up or moving down. Someone mentions buying a new car and something judgmental flickers in you before you can stop it. You don't like who you're becoming, but you don't know how to stop building. $10 million is theoretical for most people's lives, theoretical for most millionaires, but stay with this, because what happens here illuminates everything underneath it. At 10 million, the fear doesn't disappear. It becomes existential. No financial problem in your life can be solved by working harder. The variables have changed entirely. You're not building wealth anymore. You're managing it across tax structures, across estate planning, across conversations with lawyers and offices that smell like oak and consequence. You have people you pay to worry about money on your behalf. And somehow, this is the part that breaks something in you. It doesn't feel like relief. It feels like you've outsourced the one anxiety that made you feel in control. There's something darker too. At 10 million, you start to grieve the fear you lost at 0. Not the suffering. You're not nostalgic for that, but the clarity. The brutal simplicity of needing something and working toward it. The ability to point at the problem and say, that is the thing I'm fighting. Now you're fighting formlessness. You're fighting the question that all of this was supposed to answer and didn't. What is this for? You buy the things, you travel, you take care of the people you love, and that part is real. Genuinely, deeply real. But in the quiet, in the 2 a.m. dark that has followed you from 22 to wherever you are now, same hour, same silence, the question is still there. It was never about the money. It was always about the fear. And you didn't accumulate your way out of it. You just gave it better clothes. Here's what nobody on the internet will say to you directly. The goal was never to eliminate the fear. The real goal, the actual human achievable goal, is to choose which fears are worth carrying. The fear at 0 is survival. You solve that one. The fear at 1 million is identity. You can't outrun that one. You have to face it differently, or it follows you past 10 million into rooms with oak furniture and no answers, and you never even notice how long it's been there. Every number on the ladder is real. Every anxiety you feel about money at any level is legitimate. But the most dangerous thing you can do is believe that the next number will be the one that finally makes it quiet. It won't. The silence has to come from somewhere else. And the fact that you're still watching this, the fact that you already sense there's something beneath the number, means you're already asking the right question. Just don't wait until you're rich to answer it.